It's Monday. You know what that means.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to a new podcast from SAP Wrestling Review. I am one of your hosts, 617. The man to my left is the one and only Puppet Master, 2191. And I'm sure by now most of you have pretty much heard the sad and gruesome news that came out of yesterday Wrestling World with the tragic loss of John Huber, aka Brody Lee, aka Luke Harper, when he was in WWE. Sad. They have not exactly announced what was the cause. They did say that it was not COVID, so it's good news. I don't know. Sad. I liked him when WWE. I liked his gimmick as Luke Harper when he was in the Wyatt. Just that sadistic look that he had, and he teamed up with Rose. It was really good. I didn't get to catch him much as Brody Lee in AEW. What are your memories?
Brody Lee, like going into AEW and being Mr. Brody Lee, to me, that's probably going to be his best. Um, it was he got to be him. He got to have fun with what he did, and it really showed. And my biggest thing is in the wake of all of this, it's you can tell a lot about a person by how people think or remember a person or the stories that they tell a person or about a person, and it is literally there's no words for the kind of person that Brody was. Just to have the accolade and the the meaningful words that were said amongst his peers, uh, that just it sucks to hear that someone passed away so young.
I mean, it just goes to show you the difference between the two brands, between WWE and AEW, because in WWE he was restricted to being Luke Harper and being part of the Wyatt family, and he didn't have any creative control over his character. He was told how to act, what to do, when to do it, and all that. And then he moves over to AEW, and AEW gives him more free reign to be who he wants to be who he was supposed to be when he gets steps into the ring.
Yeah, they let him be him, which is something that you really don't find a lot of now.
News out of the wrestling world is CM Punk has dedicated 100% of his proceeds, I believe, for the month of January to go to John Huber's family, and Mick Foley has also
Yes,
donated
for the
100% of his
all
proceeds
all
for
all
merchandise.
all merchandise sales off of Pro Wrestling Tees from CM Punk and Mick Foley. 100% of those proceeds in the month of January is going to Brody's wife, going to his wife to help with them and the kids. Um, EC3 is releasing a Legacy T-shirt that is Brody Lee, and all of the proceeds from that T-shirt are going to Brody's wife
Right.
and children.
You want to help out, you want to contribute. You don't know how, you don't know where to send money to. The best thing to do is just go to
Oh,
PWTs, get you a CM Punk T-shirt, get you a EC3 T-shirt, get you a Mick Foley T-shirt,
or
and
you can, or any of the Brody Lee merchandise
or any of the Brody Lee merch.
from yeah from Pro Wrestling Tees or shop AEW.com. All of that, all 100% of those of everything mentioned just then is going to Brody's family.
Yeah, more than likely, I may go on to shop AEW within the next week or so and pick me up a T-shirt just so I can help. maybe go to PWTs, just to try and help out. It's sad. It's harsh. I mean, it's the business they live in and everything, but you don't expect somebody to die.
Exactly. And it's like I said, it's just really, really hard to believe.
It just goes to show how shitty 2020 is. Shitty 2020.
Yeah. I was joking before we went on, and I literally said my year end summary of 2020 is 2020 can fucking blow shit.
Exactly.
There's been so much
with COVID running rampant and still running rampant throughout the world, and a Japanese wrestler committed suicide last year.
Yeah, Hana committed suicide, and then let's see, Hana committed suicide, and then a few days later, I think it was, Shad drowned, saving his son. That's tragic all on its own. Only the bright side of that is Shad Gaspard went out, and he was a true hero.
Right. Instead of the Riptide and the ocean taking 2 lives, he lifeguard that swam out to save them to save his son.
Correct.
And his son gets to live and grow up, and you remember his dad for the superstar that he was in WWE and everywhere else that he wrestled, and remember as the hero that sacrificed himself so that his son could live.
Yeah, and that's saying a lot. But you know, it also goes to show, you know, you was asking about my take on everything and my memories of Brody. It's funny. I woke up this morning and I did my normal routine. I was checking I was checking the dirt sheets. I do it from time to time just kind of see what's being said and this, that, and the other. Now, granted, 90% of the time, the drama stuff you just overlook or don't even acknowledge. But in this instance, there was an article I'd been checking because it's a lot easier to find like the superstars reacting to the events of what's going on. And surprise, surprise, Enzo had a response. And of course, everyone knows Enzo has kind of been in and out of the news with everything going on and whatnot, and probably not someone that you would think to say many good things about wrestlers or wrestling in general right now. But he posted an Instagram story, and it was probably 2.5, almost 3 minutes long. And like he was crying during the story, just talking about his memories of Brody Lee. And he was like, I'm going to tell you right now, there's not a man that walks this planet that can step in his shoes. And it was amazing just to hear the things that he was saying. And he goes, you know, if I can be a third of the man that Brody Lee was, I would consider myself a great guy. If that tells you, you know, just what kind of person Brody was.
I mean, the man could pretty much do any gimmick. I mean, he proved it in WWE when he came out there as Luke Harper, and really excelled even more whenever he got let go. I believe it was Black Wednesday they let him go.
Yeah, I think they officially released him Black Wednesday. Yes.
And then AEW picked him up and ran with it.
And they, you know, they let him just be him. He was John Huber turned up to 11.
Right.
It's amazing to see what happened. Because he went in and his character was the exalted one. He was the leader of of the Dark Order, and that was his choice. It wasn't, hey, this is what we're thinking we want to do. It was his choice. Hey, I want to be the exalted one. I want to take these guys and I want to get them over. I want to make everyone in this group. I want to make them stars. And essentially, he did. He came in and his once he debuted, like then he would have these spots on Being the Elite, the YouTube show that they air every Monday, and it was subtle jokes towards Vince McMahon and how Vince McMahon is, don't sneeze around me, or
Right.
Why are you eating while I'm eating, stuff like that. Like it was just, it wasn't anything personal. It was just to have fun.
Right.
And you could tell that he was having fun. And then it evolved from that to the Dark Order skits where, Brody would be there and a superstar from AEW would talk to him, and he was like, yeah, I was on the website and I filled out a form, but I never heard anything back from y'all, and this, that, and the other. And this is Adam Page that's in this skit. This is Hangman. And then Brody goes in, and there's John Silver and Alex Reynolds, and he looks at him. He goes, "Do you like horses?" And they both just kind of freeze and look at him, and Silver goes, I like horses. And then he yells, "Do you like whiskey?" And like John hits the floor, and Alex kind of slumps back in a chair. And then he yells even louder, "Do you like doing cowboy shit?" And they all just kind of, they're all like, yeah. And he goes, "Then can someone tell me how we did not get Adam fucking Hangman?" And like he proceeds to like berate the two of them, and he's got a like roll of papers. He's got like a stack of papers that he rolls up, and he just fastballs this roll of paper into John Silver's head, and goes, "Silver, you're a fucking idiot," and walks out. And like today's episode of Being the Elite, it was titled Brody, and instead of being their normal Being the Elite, where it's a bunch of skits and continuations of stories that are going on in AEW, it was a compilation of the skits that Brody was part of, and the guys that worked directly with Brody from the Dark Order, all talking about how he was. And Silver talks about how he started laughing during one of the skits, and he couldn't stop it. And Brody is like forehead to forehead with him, yelling, "Are you crying?" and smacking him in the face, and going, "Are you fucking crying?" and smacking him in the face. He goes, he was doing it that way. We didn't have to stop recording because it did look like I was crying, but I was laughing. And he goes, and it amazed me, no matter what, when he was on camera, he never laughed. But if he was off to the side, not part of it, he would start laughing and everyone else would crack up. And, you hear those stories. Like, the man was a professional when the camera was on and he was in front of it. And then when he was off camera, it wasn't Brody Lee that you were dealing with. It was John. It was the husband, the family man, the human. And there was one story that was told that that Brody would just meet random people. He would see someone going through an airport and it looked like that they were down or grieving over something, and he would literally just stop what he was doing and go over and sit with them and talk to them. And there was people that he did that with, that when he met them and he did that, he gave them their number and he would call them from time to time to check in on them or send them a message to make sure they were okay. People he never met, but walking through the airport and they looked like they were grieving, or they were just down. You don't You don't hear stories like that nowadays. You don't hear of people doing that. John Silver posted on Twitter, I think it was today, that Brody had spent over $1,000 on John Silver. He had a entrance jacket made that looked like Brody's, and he also had a gear made to look like one of Brody's gears, but it was for John Silver, and it was all for a skit that they were going to do, that they were going to film when he got to feeling better and was coming back and going to come back. They were going to do this skit with him and Silver, and Silver didn't know that he was doing it. He got a message from Brody. He's like, "Hey, you should be receiving a package. Let me know when you get it. I got this really good idea for a skit for BTE." And it was gear that looked just like Brody's. And so he was like, "So what did I do? I opened it up. I put on the jacket. I took a selfie and sent it to him. I went and changed into the gear. I took a selfie and I sent it to him. I absolutely love it." He goes, "And it sucks that it was for this, and it will never happen."
Never transpired.
But that's all goes to show that he came into this new company, went to a group of guys that he wanted to make matter. He spent over $1,000 in ring gear just for a skit, not even for him to wear it in the ring.
Right. Well,
just so.
Now.
Oh yeah, Tony Khan has already went to Twitter today saying that they're redoing Wednesday's show, and that Wednesday's show is a
tribute.
Yeah, it's a complete tribute to Brody.
Yeah, they got to do some. They got to one up WWE, because I wasn't satisfied. I wasn't happy with the way WWE handled it at the start of their show. I mean, they didn't even give the 10 bell salute like they do for superstars that pass. I mean, I think they gave it for Shad Gaspar, but they didn't do it for.
They didn't do one for Pat.
But yeah, like they didn't. I mean, they just put the still shot up and said in memory of, and then went straight into the show. I guess when they cut ties with you, they completely cut ties. AEW should be better, since he was under contract with them and everything. So.
Okay, so here we go. This Wednesday on AEW Dynamite, we'll celebrate the life of John Huber, Mr. Brody Lee, with a show including tributes and a special card of matches dedicated to the Exalted One. This night is intended to honor John, but this is also for Amanda and their son Brody, -1, and Nolan. And then that was 2 hours ago. An hour ago, they released what the card is. Or, I'm sorry, 2 hours ago, released what the card is. Cody Rhodes, Orange Cassidy, and 10 from the Dark Order versus Team Taz. So, versus Brian Cage, Ricky Stark, and Powerhouse Hobbs. The Young Bucks and Colt Cabana versus Matt Hardy and Private Party. Hangman Adam Page, John Silver, and Alex Reynolds versus MJF, Santana, and Ortiz.
You know John Silver will be wearing the ring gear.
I'm so hoping he does.
Be the best way to honor him, to go out there and do a match and actually, get the pinfall using Brody's finisher.
Yeah.
Or something.
Dude, if he throws that Sister Abigail discus clothesline, I will be impressed. Because that was Brody's finisher. He'd set up like it was Sister Abigail, and then he'd throw him around, and he would spin into a discus clothesline.
Nice.
He was a great finisher. But then you have Anna Jay and Tay Conti versus Dr. Britt Baker and Penelope Ford. And then you also have Lance Archer, Evil Uno, and Stu Grayson versus Eddie Kingston, the Butcher and the Blade. So every match features one of the members of the Dark Order. Because you have Uno and Stu, 1 and 2. They were the first two to start the Dark Order concept. Anna Jay, who was specifically pulled into the group because Brody wanted her under his wing and gave her the number 99. Silver, John Silver, Alex Reynolds, that's 3 and 4. That actually there is one member missing. 5 is not part of it, which that's fine. Then you have Colt Cabana, who was recruited by Brody Lee, and then you have 10. So each match has a member of the Dark Order, if not 2. So an hour ago, this is what Tony said. I signed up the unorthodox trio of Cody Rhodes, Orange Cassidy, and 10 as their 3 of -1s. This is Brody Jr. They're 3 of -1's favorite wrestlers. There's a lot of history between the 3 of them. 10 is Cody's former student who turned his back on the Nightmare Factory. But they'll all team to honor Brody on Wednesday.
And then more likely they'll put them all over.
Oh, yeah. And then also an hour ago, he tweets out, I haven't slept much recently. I have a lot of responsibilities across my different roles, but this was the hardest week I've ever experienced. I'll miss John very much. I worked all night on a tribute card to honor him. The response from Amanda and from fans made me cry. Thank you. This is the owner. This is the CEO of AEW. And this is, you know, he talks about AEW's New Year's Smash will now take place across the first 2 weeks of 2021 on January 6th and January 13th. I'll announce the card for this week's AEW celebration of Mr. Brody Lee's life in a moment. Thank you to all who shared their love for John this week. And that's all of his posts since 2 days ago have just been about Brody or Brody and his family or what how it's affecting him. And it's crazy. Like a day ago, the tweet was, I'm devastated by the loss of John, known to fans as Mr. Brody Lee, formerly Luke Harper. John was a great man. His family came first, his loving wife Amanda and their sons Brody and Nolan. He loved wrestling and was great at it, and he loved you fans. Please keep him in your hearts. Like that's not, we're saddened to hear the loss of so and so. This is the owner of this company. The same role as Vince is in the WWE. And like you can just tell how personal it was.
Right.
Not saying that Vince's was not personal, because it was to a point. It was the okay. It kind of wasn't, but it was literally 1 day ago. The entire WWE family is deeply saddened by the passing of John Huber, known to the WWE universe as Luke Harper. Our thoughts are with John's family, friends, and fans. And it had a picture from WrestleMania in New Orleans the second time when him and Rowan won the SmackDown Tag Team titles.
I mean,
that's it.
It might be personal, it might not be. To me, it's generic. I think that's the same one that he sends out when any superstar that used to be in the
yeah.
So you could do better than that.
Like, it's
I
just,
guess you really can. 70 something, 80. So technology.
see, and I'd read a report that he's not doing good either. And it's like, okay, yeah, we all joke about it and, this, that, and the other, but if he's not doing good either, that's not a good sign either.
Yeah, and I'm willing to bet that he's probably not even in charge. Probably got
Yeah, I don't think he is.
he's got a
But
social media team that handles stuff.
But what's crazy is during the course of all of this, the one thing that people really didn't think would happen happened. You had WWE liking AEW post, AEW liking WWE post in regards to Brody, and then superstars from both brands just liking and retweeting stuff from each other. Like again, I'm going to say this phrase, for the first time in history, you're seeing where the two companies are actually acknowledging each other with respect,
Right. And
which it should be in this case.
it's sad that it takes a performer from that's been on both brands to pass for them to do that. They're so gung ho and caught up in the competition trying to beat the other person that if they just teamed up and worked together, it'd be more entertainment for everyone. Have cross brand, have feuds on cross brand, kind of like TNA or kind of like Impact and AEW are doing.
Right. And it now I will say the one report that I read that really like hit me. It was either this past Wednesday or the previous Wednesday, one of the two. After AEW went off the air, Kenny and the Young Bucks went to the ring, and they had Brody Jr. and they had him come out, and they offered him a spot in the Elite,
Yeah.
and then the Dark Order comes out, and they're having a fit because this is Brody's son. This is Mr. Brody Lee's son. You can't be doing this, right? Which it ends up that Mr. Brody Lee Jr., of course, was following in Daddy's footsteps, and he was Dark Order. So then Kenny challenges him to a AEW Championship match, and takes the pinfall from Brody Lee Jr. for Brody Lee to win the title and take it home. So I mean, you hear reports or you read stories, and that's because apparently AEW knew what was going on with Brody.
Yeah.
They said, we knew, we were well aware of Brody's health condition, and what was going on with him. But it was him and his family that didn't want this to be known.
Right.
In our respect, to the respect for them, we abide. Yeah, we respected their privacy. Like you get that, and it's because apparently, so he had the dog collar match the 7th of October with Cody, and he was going to be off TV to sell the dog collar match. How intense the dog collar match was,
right?
And while he was out, he apparently had got on his Peloton and was doing his workout, and he realized he couldn't finish it. Not normal. Like he was having a hard time breathing, and he got worse, and that's when they ended up at the Mayo Clinic in Jacksonville, and he'd been there since the end of October. And it was never reported. It was never seen. It was never known until now.
Yeah,
And that's something that, had it been in WWE, who's to say someone from the office may not have leaked that information out?
right. Exactly.
Because I mean, stuff like that has happened. Not that not that they don't respect the wishes, but someone in the office catches wind of it and maybe wants a quick little payday.
Exactly. Leak it to the press.
Yeah, and then now you've got this other company, and this was brought to the company as soon as it happened, and that was 2 months ago. And not a word was no one knew it outside of the company. And it was never, how do you how can a new company keep something that major hidden when a major company can't do that? Like, that's impressive to me, as far as things that are going on in 2020. How this brand new company has kicked in. It's now over. It's out of its first year. It's in its second year. It's kicking the WWE's backside in ratings on Wednesday nights against probably their best brand of NXT. And then on top of that, they're within their first year and a half, they're having to deal with the death of one of their major stars. But they were also able to keep it from being leaked all over the place. Why, if they're able to do it and literally rewrite an entire show, how can the other company not do something other than just show a graphic on the screen? You've got Bray Wyatt, you've got Braun Strowman, you've got Randy Orton, all on Monday night. Those are three of your major people that posted something on Twitter about this, that are affected by this. Cool. Why don't you have a what?
Brody Lee shares the birthday with me.
Oh, does he?
Except he was 3 years before. I was born in 82. He was born in 79 on December 16th.
Jesus. But I mean, you see where I'm going with this, though?
Yeah.
They had a major show, AEW's major show, New Year's Bash. Night one was going to be Wednesday night. Now they've pushed that to do the celebration of Mr. Brody Lee, to do a celebration of life tribute show. So you mean to tell me that you can't give your superstars on a globally viewed wrestling program, you can't give your superstars the chance to sit down and say their goodbyes and express themselves and have a tribute show as well?
Right. Because he wasn't on the contract. He wasn't a member of their company anymore. They don't care. They'll put it out there, but
that's what I don't get.
They'll put it out there in memory of, but that's it.
Yeah.
If you're not on our brand, you're wrestling for a competitor, we don't care about you. It's sad that you died, but that's their way of thinking. They don't care. And
wait, no. This gets better. October 7th has the dog collar match, right? Okay. The next weekend, guess where he was?
WWE at a show.
He was on their Florida loop backstage at every show with everyone.
Right.
AEW knew it. Tony Khan knew it. Go see your friends. Go hang out. Go catch up.
Yeah, I remember you saying something about that because they had to call and say, "Hey, we just want you to know that he's."
Oh no, that was Adam Cole's girlfriend that ended up on the pay per
Oh,
view.
right.
Like
And then it's
this
like,
was like house show,
right.
or I'm sorry, not house show. This was tapings.
And you gotta look at it this way. There's two ways of looking at the business, and AEW is going about it the right way, in my opinion, by
So
pausing the storyline and doing the
what they need,
tribute show
what they
that they're
should.
doing. Whereas Vince and the WWE, it's like when Owen Hart died mid pay per view. Vince said it, and it's pretty much stuck. The show must go on. You know, the only time that I remember ever since I started watching WWE that they completely stopped everything that was going on, completely stopped all storylines. Hell, Vince even came out and broke his storyline because the previous week he was blown up.
Yeah,
Was when Chris the news came out of Chris Benoit and the deaths of
before
Chris and his wife
before
and
yeah
kid. And
before
then
it was
right, and
before it
then
was suspected as a double
right
murder
before
suicide.
they exactly, and then they put the show on hold for that. And basically, the whole thing was like showing some of his matches, having superstars talk about
Dog.
their history with Benoit, the fun that they used to have, and all that good stuff before the news broke. And then ever since that instance, I think that was pretty much the catalyst to stop Vince from doing it ever again, because you never know.
So here's my outlook on that. Yeah, I can agree with that. Owen died. Owen plummeted.
Right.
They cut the live feed for the pay per view. They did cut the live feed because I ordered that pay per view. I was watching that pay per view. I saw
Yeah,
when the live feed cut.
I was listening to it.
But
I was listening to it because we didn't have like we didn't like my parents weren't going to pay for it, so I was listening like back in the day during cable
oh,
TV when
I know. You could go to the pay per view channels and you
pay
could
per view
hear it.
channel and you could hear it, and it was all fuzzy and snowy and everything. You couldn't see nothing, but you could hear everything that was going on.
Oh, I
Like,
know. I'm not gonna lie. I had those rabbit ear antennas for the longest
oh
because
yeah,
you hook those rabbit ear antennas and you could get it to come in.
I remember like being in my bedroom when we lived on the south side of Houston. Very young age on Sunday night trying to watch the Simpsons, the new episode of The Simpsons at 7 p.m. on Fox. And, cable was in the living room. Parents didn't watch it, so I was in my room with the old, I'm talking the old TV where you had to, you pull out on the power to
Yeah,
turn it on and push it in. You had the little dials to turn the channels, going
yeah,
over and finding 26 and putting it on 26 and then having to position the rabbit ears. And the only way that I could get Fox to come in is I had to have one rabbit ear extended all the way out into my room, and then the other
hmm
one extended out the doorway into the hallway. And I remember that one night because Dad was coming around the corner to go get something out of the bedroom and damn near put his eye out because the rabbit ear was there.
yeah.
Like at that point, he went into the garage and got a can of red spray paint and put something on it and spray painted that some bitch red so that he could see it from then on.
That or my there was a few times where I had to bust out the aluminum foil on the rabbit ear.
Oh yeah, I had to do that too. I had to do that to
But
pick up
like
shit. Back
that
then
like
it was UPN channel 20.
yeah. But I mean that's what I'm saying. Like Owen, the tragedy of Owen happened live on pay per view.
Right.
They cut the feed, then they come back and it's just Jr. and
Announcing the passing of
Jr.
Owen Hart.
Jr's got to deliver the news and kind of tell what's going on, and
Right.
then you see Jerry Lawler come back to the announcer's booth, and he's white as a ghost because he ran to the ring when it happened. He saw what was going on, and you could hear Jerry Lawler say he's purple. Like he's purple.
Right. And then,
And then
the
the
famous
next,
words of WWE history, the show must go on. Up next.
yeah,
And it's like if
and
you go back on the network and you watch that pay per view, they don't even
yeah,
have like the
no, that
promos for
paper.
the Blue Blazer anymore.
I don't. Last time I checked, it wasn't on there.
Then they must, well, because I checked like a couple of years ago because I wanted to watch that pay per view just to see how they handled it, and they completely cut out. The match. It ended at the match before, and then it jumped straight to the match that was supposed to follow the Blue Razor and whoever he was up against. They cut all of that out.
There may be a heavily cut version of it. I know the original version is locked up in Stanford, and it's in a box. And the box clearly says never to be aired.
Right.
Um,
it's in like a secure vault that only high execs can get into.
But what I'm getting at is you had that tragedy happen. Monday Night on Raw, they had a tribute show. Same time, Nitro ran their Owen Hart Memorial show. That the main event was Chris Benoit and Bret Hart.
I remember essentially. I remember the end of Raw because Stone Cold came out and cracked open a beer
and left it in the ring.
Toasted Owen, drank one, set the other one down in the ring, and left.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like he did a tribute show on that one. Then the next one was Eddie.
Right.
Eddie Guerrero. They did tribute show on Raw and on SmackDown. Then you had Benoit. They did the tribute show, and then the next night was ECW and Vince is on again.
Right.
And saying in light of recent developments of the situation, we will not be
mentioning Chris Benoit.
This will be going on. Yeah.
The name Chris Benoit.
And I think that was handled well.
Right.
Like, don't get me wrong. I think the way that they handled it Monday is how they should have handled it. It was a tribute show. All the information was not out. It had just happened, the night before. Details were still coming in. Things were still being released. Then the next morning, it was released that it looks like it may have been a double murder-suicide. Then you go out and go, okay, in light of what's been released today in regards to this, we will go on about our regularly scheduled program, and this will be the last time that we mention this part. All right, cool. I respect that. That's how you should have handled that situation. Now you've got...
Yeah, because they pulled the tribute show the day of because...
No, it aired. The tribute show aired.
I mean, they pulled it out of thin air the day of because it wasn't released until... Like, it was... They were notified at, like, I think 2 or 3 hours before Raw was on the air.
It was 2 hours before Raw. They scrapped the entire card
that they were found.
Yeah, he rebuilt the card to let the ones that wanted to work could, and the ones that wanted to go on screen and talk could talk. Everyone said their thoughts and their what they remember of Benoit, and then the next morning the Tuesday morning is when it was released that it was looking like it may have been a double murder suicide. Which I won't even get started on that because I do have my takes on that. Like, there's some things that it makes sense, some things don't. Like 1 + 1 doesn't equal 20. But like I said, I won't get into that. What happened. It's tragedy, and it's sad that that's what happened. And it's sad that someone could get into that place.
See, and then they had the Warrior Pass.
Warrior Pass. They did.
He was inducted on Saturday, and then Monday he was on Raw, and then Tuesday he was gone.
Tuesday morning he dropped.
Right, massive heart attack.
And
then the following Monday they kind of did a little tribute, but they still had the normal card. And then when Dusty passed, I think didn't they do a complete tribute show for Dusty, or was it more of they had superstars speaking on?
No. For Dusty, they didn't do anything. Like, they did the 10 bell salute. They did the graphic, whole 9 yards. Like they did with Warrior, like they did with everyone else.
Well, I remember with Dusty because they did. The graphic came up, they did the 10 bell salute, and then they had his music play.
Yeah, they had his music playing. That's all that they did. it was NXT
That did it.
that they did more of a memorial, because at that point Dusty was heavily into NXT promo class, helping these kids get adjusted and get to where they would eventually one day be able to be on the main roster. Because those were Dusty's children. But not only that, they also did the Dusty Rhodes Memorial the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic tournament, and that was the big thing that they did with Dusty. Was NXT has the tag tournament, the Dusty Classic. But you look, they did the 10 bell for Shad Gaspar. He wholeheartedly deserved that.
Yeah.
I don't think they did a 10 bell for Pat.
Didn't do it for Brody.
Yeah, they didn't do it for Brody. They did the Image.
I do have
I do know that when Hana killed herself in Japan, they did have a graphic in memory of for her as well.
They did.
So I give them credit. They've been more open to things that are happening in the wrestling world, not just the WWE bubble, but the wrestling
the entire
world.
Community.
And they're acknowledging these people that things happened, or tragedy, this, that, and I respect that. They should have been doing that a long time ago.
Now on Raw tonight,
and I'm glad to see that it's being done. But I also know they didn't do a 10 bell for Hana, so it may be certain situations will get a 10 bell. The others will just get the in memory of graphic. But I think, me personally, I think 10 bell should have been done on this one. If nothing else, the 10 bell should have been done, and you should have let the guys stand on the ramp for the 10 bell.
Right, exactly. Especially Strowman and White.
I was going to say, and regardless of if it affects your storyline on Bray being burned alive, Bray and Braun, above anyone else, should have been standing front and center on.
Exactly. Now,
and that's my take on it. That's how I feel about it. They run that company. They do what they think is best. Okay, cool.
Raw tonight, they announced Legends Night coming up. Hulk Hogan will be there. Flair will be there. Looks like Big Show. Torrie Wilson.
Carlito.
Yeah, they're just showing a bunch of people.
Yeah, Carlito. They announced on Twitter Carlito would be making his return to WWE on Legends Night.
I don't see
how. But that's one of those things of, well, I mean, technically in WWE's eyes, he is there for a long period, and then he's been gone. So technically, he would fall under the alumni, which is Legends in layman's terms. They just treat it more like a sorority or a university does. These are our alumni. No, these are your previous employees. Let's just call it what it is. They have a standing in the wrestling community still. They have significant time in your company. They are your legends. I respect you calling them that. Just don't call them alumni like at some university.
Right.
An alumni means, hey, they left on their own terms. 90% of the guys that you're bringing in, you gave the good luck on your future endeavors.
Right.
That's not an alumni. That's someone you fired.
Exactly. Right.
Now, on to the year in review. But I'll be absolutely honest. The year started for me January 4th and 5th. At like 1:30 a.m., 2 o'clock in the morning, because I was watching New Japan. I was watching Wrestle Kingdom. I was watching the first WrestleMania, and this is before COVID happened, and there was a live crowd in the Tokyo Dome for 3 days straight, and I watched all 3 days. Loved every minute of it. That's my year. That's how my year started. And then, a couple weeks later was the Rumble. Best moment in the first half of the wrestling year. Edge's return. The pop, the look on his face, the adrenaline, like the live crowd.
The look of shock on his face when he come out there and didn't realize that he could
And
still pull.
That the people were going to go crazy like that. And the fact that out of all of the surprises in the Rumble, somehow that was the one surprise that did not get leaked.
Right.
Like that, I give them credit for that, because had that got leaked, I probably wouldn't have watched. I mean, I would have watched Rumble, but I'm going to tell you right now, I knew MVP was back because someone had got photos of the baseball field and the setup, and MVP's. They were testing MVP's graphics.
Right.
So MVP got leaked that way.
Somebody screwed up.
The fact that Edge didn't get leaked at all. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, I was watching it with my ex's son, because she was living with me at the time, and Edge came out, and I came up off the couch. It was like you would have thought I just received, $1 million.
Right.
I was shocked. I had a hard time catching my breath. I had goosebumps. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Now I'll be the first one to say I'm a very big Edge fan, or as he would like to say, I am an Edgehead.
Right.
I hated the fact that his career got ended not on his terms. That, someone who's watched wrestling my entire life, I would rather see someone retire of their accord, not, doctors are saying it's this or walking, so I'm gonna have to, I don't get to end this my way.
Right.
And for him to be able to have that chance. And that stemmed from the previous year's WrestleMania, when Daniel Bryan got cleared to come back to the ring. That then led him to be like, if Daniel can do it, I wonder if I can.
Right.
So then he goes and sees the doctor and said, hey, what would we need to do for me to potentially be able to go out and do this on my terms? Well, you're going to need another neck surgery. All right, let's do it. Let's see. What's it going to hurt? I'm going to get the neck surgery. The neck's going to feel better. If you tell me, hey, you really can't take bumps and it's not going to hold this, that's fine. My neck's still going to be, my neck is going to feel better, and I'm going to have a better quality of life. I respect that 100%. Because he went into it knowing, there's a possibility they tell me I still can't do this. But I know that I'm going to have a better quality of life regardless, because it's going to go from this old neck fusion to this new triple neck fusion, and it's going to have better support, better mobility, less pain. Right. There's no drawbacks to it.
Exactly.
You get told no, okay, well, hey, you know what? My neck's still better. I'm cool. But he didn't get told no. He got told yes. So then he calls Vince. He talks with Cody in AEW. He calls Vince. Hey, look, I do have this offer, but I'm going to be honest. If I'm going to do this, I'd rather do it where I didn't get the chance to end it on my terms. And that's just me being honest with you.
Right.
Here's what I need. I need a ring, and I need you to send me someone that I can work with. and they sent him Dash. No. Wilder. Yeah, they sent him Wilder. No, they sent him the other one. He goes by Cash Wheeler now. I can't think. Dash and Dash Wilder and whatever I can't think of what Cash was before. But the Revival.
Right.
They sent him one of the Revival boys. That's the one that he asked for. So they sent him a ring. They sent Cash out there. They worked out, and to watch Edge in a warehouse, just Edge, Beth Phoenix, and Cash, and him holding his own and holding his cardio in there with Cash Wheeler was amazing. Because it's like he didn't miss a beat. So that's where my year started. New Japan, Wrestle Kingdom, into New Year's Dash to kick off the whole new season for them, and then Royal Rumble 2020 before Rona hit, and before we had the Rona Rumble.
Right.
And like that, the year started out in wrestling great. Now I want to say it was okay. So Hana died. Okay, I had the timeline wrong. Hana committed suicide in January. I do remember that. Pretty sure it was January. I could be wrong. It may have been summer. But anyways, we had but I'm almost positive it was before the Rumble. Hana Kimura. Okay, no, I'm sorry. It was before Mania. Yeah. Hers was going into Mania. That's what it was. Okay. So, because you had Hana, and then she passed in May, and then Shad was... Okay, Shad was May 17th. Hana was what? May 20... Okay, so we lost Shad, then we lost Hana. This is what it was in the wrestling community. So, we go in January. We've got a live crowd. I don't remember if February had a live crowd or not. I don't think it did.
Yeah, February did. Because
okay.
Cause
yeah.
All of the protocols and stuff didn't go into place until March.
Okay, that's what it was. So the next pay-per-view, we had a live crowd.
Yeah, hold on. Let me interrupt real quick. So we'll go over the superstars that have passed so far. On January 11th, it was La Parka 2.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about La Parka.
January 15th was Rocky Johnson.
Yeah.
April 13th was Black Demon. April 16th was Howard Finkel. Chad Gaspard on May 17th. Hana on May 23rd. Danny Havoc on May 31st.
Man, Danny was another one that hit the wrestling world a little tough.
Yeah. Kamala on August 9th. August 16th was Xavier.
We've also lost. I've got them here in ABC. Mine are out of. Mine aren't chronological.
August 27th was Bullet Bob Armstrong.
Yep. Road Dogs Daddy.
September 27th was Joseph Animal Laurinaitis. October 28th was Tracy Smothers.
Man, I still can't believe Tracy died.
RJ the Bruiser Myers on November 16th. Pat Patterson on December 7th. Danny Hodge on December 26th, along with Brody Lee.
They missed one.
Who they missed?
Or maybe I didn't hear it. Did you say Tommy Lister?
No, he was not on here.
Okay. Yeah. Essentially, if you've watched the Friday movies, Debo, aka Zeus from the WWE, he also died. I've got La Parker, the original La Parker died as well.
Yeah.
Kamala, Howard Finkel, I think you mentioned those two.
Yeah.
And this
Father,
is
Rocky.
yeah. I've got Bob Armstrong, Brody Lee, Hanna, Howard Finkel, Kamala, La Parker, Pat Patterson, Road Warrior Animal, Rocky Johnson, Chad Gaspard, and Zeus. But this isn't the complete list, which kind of sucks. But I'm trying to find the complete list.
It was a tough year in 2020.
Here we go. I got it. So you've got Kevin Green, who passed away. Kevin Green passed away a few weeks ago. Tommy Lister Jr., Zeus, Harper, Steve Casey, Kamala, Hana Kimura, Ryan Smile, Danny Hodge, Alex Trebek passed away this year. We can't forget about him. Danny Havoc, you mentioned. Harper, Fink. I got the complete list of every wrestler that passed away this year now. I'm just trying to see if any other ones that might be. La Parker 2, Little Richard.
Yeah, when I heard La Parka too, when I first heard La Parka, I was thinking like WCW La Parka, and then I went and looked at it, and it was like no, it was a different La Parka.
No, that La Parker also passed away.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, the original also passed away because Triple Mania had a tribute to both La Parker 2 and La Parker. Yeah, all in one go. Tracy Smothers, that one still. That would There's so many Tracy Smothers things that I could say.
Right.
Just
I remember La Parker's days in WCW because he'd always come out there and do that little strut.
Yeah, chairman of the WCW. Oh, you may not remember this one. Puppet.
No, you're still alive. You're right here next to me.
Do what?
You're choppy.
No. Well, yeah, you were too there for a minute.
All I heard was Puppet, and then I said, "No, you're still alive.
Oh,
you're right here."
No, Stevie Lee, his ring name was Puppet. He was an American professional wrestler, an actor, and a promoter. He was in TNA, and he was also known for running half-pint brawlers. He was one of the minis.
Oh, back in the day. Back with like Max Mini and all them, or
no, I don't. He was a little bit after Max Mini. Like he was born in '69, but
I remember those days. Those were cool.
Dude, I'm gonna tell you right now.
Fun to watch.
When you see, I'm sending you the link. When you see it, when you see the image of who it is, you'll recognize him. Like, no doubt about it, you'll recognize him. But all in all, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Oh yeah.
6.
It's not 2020 has not been.
3.
I remember Edge's debut at the Rumble. Where my year in wrestling really picked up was, I want to say Mania, because I watched the Rumble and then I kind of fell off after the Rumble, and then Mania is where I picked back up watching the two-parter The 2-day show
Four,
that they had.
49 is the total number of wrestling deaths this year. But yes, Rumble. Then you had Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, I didn't watch the Elimination Chamber.
You had Elimination Chamber, and I want to say they had No Way Out.
Yeah, I think it was
Maybe.
No Way Out because then Mania was in April.
Yeah. But you had the 2-night Mania. And I think it'll be as people are going to refer to it, the Mania that no one was in attendance. The first Mania in an empty building.
Exactly. The first Mania was pre-recorded matches.
Now look, I'm just gonna say,
match of the year.
Yeah, the Boneyard match.
Boneyard match.
Boneyard match, and not taking away anything away. Firefly Funhouse match. That was also a very no, not the Inferno. The one at
the John
Cena,
Bray Wyatt.
the Cena Bray Wyatt where history was rewrote. I thought that was That was a very good cinematic match. That was a truly cinematic match. Right. That was we are rewriting history.
Right, with a possible spoiler in there in relation to John Cena's future that we may see coming up too. So we'll get into that next week. Go over our predictions for 20.
I'm gonna say I don't think so.
I don't know. Time will tell. With how shitty WWE's ratings have been right now, it's only a matter. I mean, they're scrambling right now. I mean, the best storyline that I'm going to say the best 3 storylines that I see in WWE right now is got to be Roman Reigns and Usos with the family. Number 1, the Bray Wyatt Fiend and Alexa Bliss. Make sure my damn echo didn't say her name. And now after the Inferno match, the evolution of the Fiend, seeing which way they're going to take that and how they're going to transition with that. And I'm really liking the way the Hurt Business is coming out now. You know, after the pay-per-view a couple weeks ago, I don't like seeing Bobby Lashley against all these nobodies and squashing them. I want to see him in actual matches with people that, in my opinion, can stand up to him and can actually take him on. I don't want to see him up against people like R-Truth or up against Sami Zayn and then having him just squashing them like a bug. That, to me, that's not entertainment. That's boring. I'm curious to see where they lead those 3 storylines. Now, I've recently gotten into AEW and everything, so I'm starting to get caught up on that. Wednesday, I can't wait for Wednesday's show to see how it transpires and what they do, see how the matches go and everything, and then start progressing after that.
Yeah. Honestly, so shows that stick out in my mind that, like, if I sit here and think shows that made me, that I remember from 2020, Rumble, Wrestle Kingdom, Revolution, WWE, New Japan, AEW. There's my first 3. Boom. And WrestleMania. We'll go ahead and include WrestleMania in that as well. Because it would I think Mania was technically first quarter. No, Mania was second quarter. All right, so then we go. So there's my first quarter right there. Boom. Second quarter. AEW's pay-per-view, which I think was Double or Nothing, or maybe it was All Out. I think it was All Out. I think All Out came first. WrestleMania, and the build up to the G1 Climax for New Japan. Which was, well, technically no, I take that back. New Japan didn't run anything second. Like New Japan didn't run anything until like third way through third quarter. Once the global shutdown happened,
Right.
New Japan didn't even run shows for a good 4 or 5 months. Like they didn't do anything.
Yeah, they were on complete lockdown. They weren't allowed. Their people weren't allowed to leave their home unless they had important business that they had.
Well, no, Stardom was running. Other organizations in Japan were running empty arena shows. Just New Japan wasn't going to do it. But I think also New Japan had a bunch of positive cases amongst their wrestlers at the same time. So I think what they did was they let all of their positive cases get better,
right.
Made sure they didn't have any more positive cases, and then okay, it's been this many months. It's been like 2 months since our last positive case. Everyone's good. Here's how we're going to run our shows. They did a press conference. Oddly enough, press conference for when they were doing the this is how we're going to be running our stuff. Also, the press conference where they fired their president at the time. Man, you really had to make someone mad to get fired. A, during a pandemic. B, live during a press conference. And C, escorted out during the press conference. It's crazy. Like, I don't know who you made mad.
I mean, whose Wheaties did you piss in that day?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say Wheaties. Maybe like whose ramen did you not make right?
Whose noodles did you fuck up?
Yeah, whose noodles did you spit in?
When they asked for tuna sushi, did you give them salmon instead?
But I mean, so memorable things of second quarter is going to be that press conference or the news that potential changes in New Japan was coming. Third quarter for me, I'm just going to be absolutely honest. AEW's pay-per-views, I remember vividly watching, or whatnot. To me, the company of this year was AEW, hands down. AEW, followed by NXT and New Japan, Ring of Honor, like Raw and SmackDown. Very, very, they're probably middle of the list.
Right.
And that's crazy to say, but in all honesty, AEW and NXT, number one, number two. New Japan had a good 5 months where they didn't do anything, so that kind of put them in third. Impact was in fourth for me, and that's saying a whole lot of stuff right there. Ring of Honor, MLW's return, a lot of GCW and a lot of the GCW Game Changer Wrestling. Progress was doing good. NXT UK, then probably SmackDown, and then probably Raw, and then everything else just kind of falls under there. Like that's my year in ranking, wise. But for AEW to only do 4 pay-per-views in a year, which is that's their pay-per-view structure. It's 4 pay-per-views in the year. And they had to deal with the pandemic. And they handled the pandemic great. Like the first month of the pandemic, they were shooting in Atlanta at the Nightmare Factory. Well, then Atlanta locked down. Florida kind of opened up more, and they were able to get everyone to Florida, and they didn't have to worry about trying to find a place to run shows because the Cons own Daly's place, so they have a permanent venue. They don't have there. It's not a residency. It's not, hey, we're here for so many months, then we've got to find another place and we're going here.
Right.
It's Daly's Place. Daly's Place, Jacksonville, Florida. Daly's Place, Jacksonville, Florida. It's right across the street from the Jaguars Stadium. Okay, cool. We got that lined out. We've got that situated. What are we going to do to kind of, not make it so drab with it being an empty arena? Cool. We're going to have our superstars around the ring. They're going to have their masks on. But that's going to be our ringside crowd.
Right.
And it worked. It worked amazingly. Honestly, it worked amazingly. You got two sides where the superstars are. You got the side where the heels come out. Well, the fans on that side is mostly your heels.
Right.
Then you've got the tube that your faces come out of. Most of your superstars on that side of the ring are your faces. And they are all interacting with each other, and it's great. I think AEW handled the pandemic above and beyond.
Right. Well, you can take a look at. You can go back and you can look at the ratings and everything. For WWE on Monday nights, they started the year off strong. They hit their peak, 2.4 million viewers on February 7th. And then from then it declined. On 24th it was 2.14. In March it was 2.2, 2.1, 2.3. March 23rd it started to decline at 2 million. And then from there it was pretty much a downhill. 1.9, 1.8, 1.6 in May. 1.7, it jumps up to 1.9 and then goes back down. And then in July, it was at 1.5 million viewers, and it pretty much maintained that trend all the way up until December 14th, and it was 1.526.
Mm-hmm.
Everything. It has not been a good. The pandemic has really hurt the WWE with their viewership and everything. Especially, a lot of people, they want to tune in and see a live crowd. They want to see somebody in the stands.
Do me a favor. Look and see what the ratings were for NXT. Because I honestly think NXT had a more stable rating for the most part.
NXT 500, 700,000, 700,000. Maintaining between 500 to 700,000.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think it peaked at 853,000 in August 19th.
Yeah, that was when AEW didn't. I think there was one Wednesday they didn't run a show. Look at AEW's ratings.
AEW is the same.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much the same as WWE, as NXT's. Except they had more than 900,000, almost 1 million viewers. September 9th, they actually peaked at 1 million.
Yeah. What was their December? Oh, shit. Hold on. December 2nd, December 9th.
AEW on December 2nd was 913 and 995 on the 9th.
Yeah, okay. Because I that's going to be my story of the year. Right there. Those 2 nights. But we haven't got there yet.
NXT on those nights was 658 and 659.
Oh yeah, those 2 nights, there was no way NXT was going to outdo. They weren't even going to be close to. Which I don't mind talking about it right now because it was this is our year end. This is our year end review, and it's just kind of we're discussing our takes on the year.
Yeah, go ahead and talk about it. I gotta take a quick bathroom break.
Well, I'll wait till you get back. Shit.
All right, proceed.
Okay. So December 2nd was AEW's Winter is Coming. That was the biggest thing on that card was Jon Moxley versus Kenny Omega, AEW Heavyweight Championship. You also had, on that same night, you had Sting debuting with AEW. That was a complete surprise. But this is where the story in wrestling begins and carries over to December 9th. You have AEW's Heavyweight Championship, Jon Moxley, the defending champion, against Kenny Omega. And over the course of the last couple Kenny Omega matches, they had Don Callis sitting ringside or in the announcer's booth with which Don Callis is the EVP, Executive Vice President of Impact Wrestling.
Right.
Don Callis has known Kenny Omega since Kenny Omega was a kid because Don Callis trained under Kenny Omega's uncle, which was the Golden Sheik in Canada. That's where this entire thing kind of starts. But as far as what I'm talking about is during the match, Don Callis causes a distraction. Moxley hits Callis. A microphone gets to Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega beams Jon Moxley in the forehead with the microphone, old school style, spike it right in the forehead and toss it. Kenny Omega gets the 1, 2, 3, becomes the AEW champion, and the show ends with Don Callis and Kenny Omega leaving, and they catch one of the interview viewers catches them as they're trying to get to their car or get to the car, and it's like, hey, what's the deal? What's going on here? This, that, and the other. And then Don Callis drops the bombshell of, you want to know? We'll talk about it Tuesday. And everyone's like even the interviewer says, but Dynamite's on Wednesdays. Yeah, we'll talk about it Tuesday. Then everyone kind of makes the connection. Tuesday is when Impact shows on Access TV and Twitch.
Right.
So the following week on live on Impact, well, okay, not necessarily live, but anyways, on Impact, you have Kenny Omega, the new AEW champion, on Impact Wrestling with Don Callis. They changed the nameplate on the title from Jon Moxley to Kenny Omega. On Impact, live on Impact, which I think their segments were somewhat live or recorded earlier that day. Um, and then they're doing an interview on Impact with Kenny Omega and Don Callis. And they end the interview and they'll finish the story on Dynamite. The next night, they got to get to Jacksonville. Then on Dynamite, they finish telling the story of what happened, why, and this, that, and the other. And then the next Tuesday, Kenny is back at Impact. And then Wednesday, he's back at Dynamite. And then the next week, he's at Impact, and that's when last week, it was Kenny was at Impact. And then Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, the Good Brothers, the club, Bullet Club, whatever you want to call them. It's Gallows and Anderson and Kenny, and they're attacking Impact wrestlers. And then the next night, Kenny and Don are at AEW. I think they dropped the ball. Gallows and Anderson should have been with them. Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows should have been with Kenny and Don the next night on Impact. I think that's the only flub that they've made in the story so far. But that night on, not on Dynamite, not the Wednesday, but the Tuesday night before, they announced that Kenny Omega's going to have a match at their Hard to Kill pay-per-view. So now you've got AEW's world champion, contract wrestler, and one of the EVPs of AEW is going to have a wrestling match on another company on their pay-per-view.
Right.
He's had the title on their TV. He's done interviews on their TV. And every Tuesday night, you've had paid ads from AEW on Impact that have been absolute
about going through and looking at contractual statuses of some TNA wrestler, Impact wrestlers, and
well, see, and Tony's like, this is a paid advertisement by AEW.
Right.
Glad we could, kind of keep your lights on.
Right.
and talking about how, you've got my AEW World Champion on your TV, and I could put an end to this. I could stop it, but I'm not. And then, it's hilarious because you got Tony Khan and Tony Schiavone doing these paid ads, and they're absolutely hilarious.
Right.
You have what is legitimately, realistically, the first time in America or the U.S. in sports entertainment, as we call it, you have Impact and AEW working together. That's potentially going to lead to a talent trade, to where you see Impact wrestlers on AEW wrestlers Impact, and it's a working relationship that's beneficial to both parties, that is helping both parties. This is if this works, and I've said this for I think the last 2 weeks now. If this works, it will change how wrestling is done in America from here on out.
Right. It'll open WWE up. They'll have to do something, because at that point their ratings will go down.
Yeah, they're going to have to. Like I said, and I think this was a private conversation between me and you, I think if Triple H fought hard enough and said, "Look, let me take my NXT group, let me do a work relationship with AEW.
Right.
Let's test the waters and see how it could benefit us both." Because when you stop and you look at it, you have so much cross between AEW and NXT alone. Just in Britt Baker, who is AEW superstar, is the fiance or girlfriend, whatever you want to call her, of Adam Cole. You've got Chelsea Green, who is engaged to Matt Cardona, aka Zack Ryder, formerly known as Zack Ryder. You have Big Swole over on AEW, who is married to she's married to Cedric Alexander, so that's Raw. But you've got the Young Bucks. You've got Adam Cole and the Undisputed Era. You got Chris Jericho over on AEW, and God knows Jericho's got a long history with WWE.
Right.
You got Matt Hardy over there. You got Jeff on the WWE. Dude, I'm telling you, if they could make this work and do a co-brand joint pay-per-view of AEW WWE head-to-head. AEW airs it through Fight TV, Bleacher Report, their platforms. WWE airs it through the WWE Network. Here's where it gets interesting. We can get the WWE Network for $9.99.
Right.
And I almost guarantee you Tony Khan would not do this, but Tony Khan could air the show through Bleacher Report for free. He could.
Good.
Because their second and third pay-per-views ever were free through Bleacher Report Live. And they're still on there. You can still go back and watch them. It was the very first Fight for the Fallen and Fyter Fest. That was their second and third pay-per-views. Boom, right there. But what I'm saying is, you got WWE showing this on WWE Network, $9.99. AEW airs this through Bleacher Report as a pay-per-view, $59.99. Unless you live in the UK, and then you're getting it through Fight TV, and it's $19.99. There's a reason for that. We can talk about it here in a little bit if you want to. Don't care. But now, if you're technically smart, you can get it in the US for $19.99, but I'm not going into details on how you do that. Legal reasons. That's all I'm saying.
Just three little
kind of like UPN. Maybe change the way the U looks. That's all I'm saying.
Make it kind of pointy at the bottom.
Yeah, make it look like a vampire fang. But no, like, you aired these, even if you go the route of you got $59.99, $19.99, or $9.99. You want to see this. You want to see this history in the making. Which one are you going to choose?
American, I'm the cheapest route.
Realistically, you're going to do the month of WWE Network for a little over $10 tax and all if you live in a state that does tax on digital platforms. Yep. Some states don't.
Right.
And it is just $9.99. If you live in some of those states, then for $9.99, you're going to see a pay-per-view that has NXT, SmackDown, Raw superstars against AEW superstars. Could you imagine the spike in WWE Network subscriptions alone?
Right.
And then you look on the flip of that coin. AEW is now going to be seen globally. Not just in the UK and North America, they're going to be on a platform that is global.
Exactly.
It is a win-win for both companies.
Exactly. Ratings will spike through the roof. Not to mention WWE will make millions.
And you know how you get your ratings? Because USA, let's be honest, USA Network has been on WWE for the shitty ratings.
Right.
What's the best thing to do to spike your ratings? Get your competition on your TV.
Exactly.
What was WCW's first fatal mistake in the Monday Night Wars that gave away that Mick Foley was going to win the WWE Championship on Raw that night, and everyone flipped the channel to watch Raw and see this happen?
Yep. And their ratings dropped. They
The
did it with
next
the intention of, well, okay, well, now that you know it's going to happen, you're not going to want to go over and watch Raw just to see what happens. You already know what happens, but by telling them what happened, you inadvertently sparked a downtrend in your own ratings because now people know it's going to happen. They're still going to want to go see it.
They wanted to see Mick Foley win the title. Had you not told them, right? Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Had you not revealed that, guess what? Your viewers would have stayed on your program.
Right.
But that was misstep number one. Misstep number two, WWE D-Generation X. They are showing up at these venues where WCW is live.
Right. Exactly.
People were changing the channel from Raw, from WWE to WCW to see if they got in the building.
Right.
And when they realized or saw where they were closing the doors and they weren't able to get in, they were switching back to Raw so they could see what was happening. You should have opened the doors and let them in.
Right. Exactly.
Because they had planned, like they had a plan if they were allowed to go into the building, what they were going to do. And it wasn't going to cause a ruckus or a problem or this or that. It was going to bring ratings back to your TV show.
Exactly.
Your 83 weeks that you lost, guess what? You're fixing to have a huge spike in ratings these weeks because they're going to show up.
Right. WWE tried
to. They are invading.
They shut them out.
Yeah. Now, you take what happened with the Monday Night Wars. You move it to the Wednesday Night Wars. I'm not even really going to call it the Wednesday Night Wars because since AEW debuted, they have won all but maybe 3 Wednesday nights.
Right.
It's not a Wednesday Night War. It's a Wednesday night ass kicking.
Pretty much.
It is a mud hole stomping.
And the funny thing is, if Tony Khan were to move AEW to Monday night or create a Monday night show, WWE would be no more. Because your 1.5 million viewers would be switching to AEW at that point, and you'd go from 1.5 to maybe 250,000 viewers.
Here's what's funny. If you moved AEW to Monday night or Friday night, either or, you're going to see the numbers from Raw or SmackDown, whichever one. You're going to see the flop. You're going to see a majority of those viewers go and start watching AEW. And your Monday night numbers are like NXT's Wednesday night numbers. And NXT's Wednesday night numbers are going to go through the roof.
Right.
Because now people aren't having to decide, well, am I going to watch AEW night or WWE's NXT?
Right. You know the reason Tony Khan chose Wednesday night, right?
Oh, he when he was a kid, he always envisioned a wrestling show on Wednesday night.
Well, I mean, the real reason behind it is he knew there was no competition on Monday and Friday. He wants competition, so go up against the biggest platform. Go up against NXT. You go up against Monday Night Raw or Friday SmackDown. You got no competition because they're already seated with their failed storylines.
Well, yes and no, because when AEW debuted, They weren't quite syncing yet.
They were close.
And WWE's response to, because they didn't have a show on Wednesday night. Wednesday night was network. AEW or NXT came on the network on Wednesday nights. When they found out, when Vince found out AEW was going to be on national TV, on TNT, on Wednesday nights, he then got the TV deal on Wednesday nights for NXT.
Yeah.
He should have never done it. He should have left NXT on the network. So, to counter-program AEW, not only did he get NXT on USA, he put them on USA 3 weeks before Dynamite ever debuted.
Trying to get a jump on them.
And NXT's ratings for those 3 weeks was better than Raw and SmackDown. Like, NXT was the A brand on their TV ratings.
Right. And the funny
Dynamite
thing is
debuted.
about the weekly ratings that they put out, or the for the weekly shows, it doesn't include DVRs. The ratings don't include DVR. People that DVR will watch it without the commercial.
It's live view.
Yeah, it's live views.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. It went from Monday night or Friday night, Monday night, in that order rating wise, because SmackDown was getting the better ratings than Raw.
Right.
To now NXT, SmackDown, Raw. Your flagship show, your show that has been on the air the longest, is third in your ratings. You've got 3 TV ratings, and your longest running show is dead last.
Right.
And you've got this new show coming out. Or you have this new competitor coming out into the market. That is with all of these people that you just tried to sign less than 8 months ago.
Right.
Why? Why would you think it was smart to run NXT, that the brand that your true wrestling fans watch? Why would you put it up against them? Put it the night before them. Put it on Tuesday night. There was Wednesday, or there was Tuesday night NXT shows that hit that hit those numbers, those high numbers, those almost million viewers, concurrent numbers. They ran Tuesday night, AEW ran Wednesday night, and on those nights, NXT rated higher than AEW did on Wednesday nights, because they had 100% of their demographic with no competition running against them.
Exactly.
In that those shows rated higher than Raw, SmackDown, and AEW. So why move them back to Wednesday night? You make the phone call to USA. Let's keep NXT on Tuesday nights.
See, that's the problem with WWE right now. They're in the PG era. And, when the Monday Night Wars were going on with WCW...
Raw and SmackDown's in the PG era.
Right.
NXT's not really.
I mean, you go back to the Monday Night Wars. Raw wasn't PG. They were TVMA. So they were able to pull the storylines back then that they needed to do to compete against WCW. And WCW was the same way.
Okay, so technically, Raw was... the first hour was TV 14. Hour 2 was TVMA.
Right.
Nitro was TV 14, TV 14, TV 14. But they were on Turner's station.
Right.
Turner owned them. So whatever he was showing on his stations, that was on him.
Right.
As to where WWE was owned by Vince, running on USA or TNT, Spike TV, whatever.
Like, yeah.
Now Vince has to deal with TV, with cable companies that also are like, hey, this is what we need you. Okay, I get that. The Monday Night Wars, there were some things that probably did go a little too far.
Right.
Listen, we watched a lady give birth to a hand.
Oh, Mae Young. No.
On Raw. On cable television, this woman popped out a hand.
Right. A rubber glove. Good old
I don't. You know what? I'm forgetting one of the most disturbing storylines. We watched a man dig up another man's dead girlfriend and then drag the casket behind a car. The Katie Vick storyline with Triple H and Kane.
I forgot about that.
Why do we even need that kind of storyline?
To try and keep up.
And that may have been after the Monday Night Wars. Or right there at the tail end of the Monday Night Wars. Not 100% sure. I think it was around 2000. But you also had the storyline where Paul Bearer dug up The Undertaker's dead parents.
Right.
And I know that was during the Monday Night War.
Right.
You had The Undertaker crucify someone on live TV.
Stephanie McMahon.
And Austin.
Yeah, and Stone Cold.
Austin's the one that he actually crucified. Stephanie was just on the
Stone Cold
structure.
Stone Cold saved Stephanie. Austin got
it. Austin went up into there, and his whole thought process was this big Undertaker symbol's about 600 pounds. This thing falls, I'm done for.
Right. Hell, remember, like, and even then, like, listen to Stone Cold's podcast when he was talking about all the things that he was doing, like the one time that he was supposed to come out in the monster truck. You know, like he's sitting back behind in the curtain and everything, that area, the entrance area, in this fucking monster truck with it running, and this entire area is starting to fill up with fumes, and the only thing that he could think is if this dude doesn't shut the fuck up and stop talking, I'm gonna die.
I'm not gonna be able to drive out there.
Like, I'm gonna die. And then you got Austin coming out with the beer truck and just like blasting everybody in the ring with beer, and probably the first 15, 20 rows with fucking beer.
Like, but I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, you stop and look at everything from that time.
A lot of that shit won't fly on TV now. And that's the thing about it. I mean, the way 2020 has been with WWE, you see the drop in the ratings and everything. They have to get away from what it is that they're doing now, and they got to create storylines that are similar to the way it was in the Attitude Era without going to the extreme of the Attitude Era. You got to find a way to get people to watch your programming. And I honestly feel, like I said, one of the greatest storylines that they got going on right now is the Roman Reigns Usos head of the family stable that they're forming.
Yeah, because if they can just real.
Keep that going, who knows where it'll take them before they decide to break it up. You know, the Hurt Business has a good storyline if they can find decent competition for Bobby Lashley and stop putting him up against these jobbers, as I call them. You know, stop putting him up against jobbers. Stop putting him up against Sami Zayn. No one gives a fuck about that. I get it was one match at a pay per view. It was the United States champion versus the Intercontinental champion, but every match that I've seen Lashley in so far has been a squash. And if you're trying to make him out to be this big badass tough guy, you don't put him up against jobbers, as I call them.
Yeah.
You put him up against people that are equal to him. Like, you put him up against Braun Strowman. Put him up against Keith Lee, for God's sake, you know? You don't make somebody into a tough guy by putting him up against jobbers. You put him up against the biggest competition in the business, like they did with Brock Lesnar. As much as I hate the way that they went about with Brock Lesnar, having him come in and squash Cena put Lesnar over, and then it put him over even more than he was already over when he broke the streak with The Undertaker. No matter how much it made people hate Lesnar, which made him the perfect fucking heel. You put the belt on him, he's already hated, and the fact that he's part-time and you only see him during the major pay-per-views is a big thing. It makes people hate him more because they want to see the championship belt every Monday night on Raw. And the fact that you don't get to see it provides so much heat on the heel.
Sorry, just found another story.
What was the other storyline that I had?
Fiend and...
Yeah, The Fiend. You know, after getting quote-unquote burned alive by Randy Orton at TLC, where are you going with it? What's the storyline for it? Like, I have Monday Night Raw up over here on my other monitor right now, paused at the Bliss's Playground. Can't say the other word because my echo will light up, but, you know, Orton's going to be a guest on that show.
The Moment of Bliss.
Yeah. On her playground. Alexa's Playground, I think is what it's called. And I have that paused because I actually want to listen to what they say.
It's bad. Look, it's bad. Every time you say that, I'll look over to see.
Mine's sitting like literally right behind me on the wall. And I use it to control my studio lights and my actual Philips Hue light that I have in the ceiling fan that's going right now. So every time I say the name, it lights up. I'm like, damn, why are you going to go by that name? Why can't you go by something else?
You can change it.
Yeah.
You can change it. I haven't figured out how. Anyway, that's a whole nother topic.
I found it one time and I changed it. I changed it to computer at one time because, you know, I was talking wrestling with another friend. I got tired of lighting up. I changed it to computer, and then, you know, I fell out of wrestling and stopped talking about it as much with people and kept talking about, you know, I used to run a 2-computer rig and she would light up. I'm thinking about going back down to 1 computer and she would light up. It's like, but something's wrong with my computer. She would light up. Like, mother... So I was like, I changed it back. Yeah, I mean, it's 2020. We're coming up on the 2-hour mark now. 2020 has not been great for WWE. The middle part of the year, after Mania, it has not been great for them. They have not had very good... Raw and SmackDown have not been good. NXT has been phenomenal with what they're doing. Whatever Triple H is doing with them is great. He needs to keep it up. And, you know, I have a sneaky feeling we're not going to see anything good for Raw and SmackDown besides the storylines that they have going until Vince officially retires and steps down. And I don't know, maybe Triple H takes over, Stephanie takes over, Shane. I don't know who the hell is going to be taking over out of that trio now.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be all 3 of them. I just hope to God they don't bring back the Authority storyline. God, that was annoying. Or the anonymous Raw general manager. Fuck that shit. AEW is looking hot. They're swinging for the fences and they're hitting. What they got going on with Impact is going to put them over, in my opinion. As long as they can make something good out of it. if they can keep up the good trend with Impact and whatnot, then they'll be fine. I don't foresee them having a problem.
Like I said, as long as, or not as long as, if this working relationship with Impact and AEW works, it is going to open up the doors for, and not just in the US, but then that opens the doors for that working relationship that most AEW fans have been waiting to see happen, of AEW and New Japan.
Right.
But it also opens the door for AEW and Ring of Honor, AEW in this promotion.
Oh, trust and believe. If AEW opens up the door with New Japan and with Ring of Honor, WWE is no more.
That's what I'm saying. Like, a WWE is going to have to open the doors and be like, you know what? Let's try this.
Right.
Let's help each other, because it's getting to a point where you need the competition.
Right.
And I'm not saying that in a negative light. I'm saying that you need the competition, you need to acknowledge your competition, but not only that, you need to work together so everyone in this wrestling world has a job somewhere.
Right.
Because if your ratings go down and you're not making money, we're going to run into another Black Wednesday.
Right.
Where this person's getting this huge list that's 2 pages long is getting released.
Right. Exactly. You're not going to be able to afford your superstars and everything, and you're going to have to cut them.
And you know what?
And then AEW and Impact is going to pick them up.
That's another thing that happened in 2020. Black Wednesday.
Right.
The major release from WWE.
Right.
Brody Lee.
No, Brody Lee was released in 2019.
Huh?
Brody Lee was released in 2019. He debuted on AEW in March of 2020. So Brody,
he got released. Yeah, he got released.
But when he got released, it was on a Wednesday back then too. He was released with a lot of other superstars. So I mean, he was released on a Black Wednesday, but his particular release was 2019.
Was his in December?
I think so. It was at the end of 19.
Yeah. So, I mean, when you stop and look at it, it's, you know, when you look at that okay, when you look at that Black Wednesday list, Anderson Gallows, so Anderson Gallows, Zack Ryder, Kurt Hawkins. I think Matt Hardy was in that list as well.
He was.
Heath Slater.
And all of them are on AEW now.
Miro.
Right.
Or, I'm sorry, Rusev. According to that list, Rusev.
Right.
Those are the major ones right there, right? Gallows and Anderson, guess what? They're on Impact. And they have a very unique contract. Their contract allows them to go work for New Japan as well. Zack Ryder, aka Matt Cardona, AEW. Kurt Hawkins, aka Brian Myers, Impact. Miro.
Kurt Angle, Drake Maverick, James Carton, Zack Ryder, Kurt Hawkins, Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows, Heath Slater.
Maverick got hired back.
Eric Young. Well, this is the list as of like the
Yeah.
Eric Young, Rowan,
Wait. Do them one at a time
Zach
because I'm gonna
Ridano,
reply each time.
Kurt Angle,
Legends contract
Drake Maverick,
rehired back to WWE,
Zack Ryder,
AEW,
Kurt Hawkins,
Impact.
Carl Anderson, and Luke Gallows are on AEW.
No, Impact.
Impact. Heath Slater,
Impact.
Eric Young,
Impact.
Rowan or Joseph Rudd,
Yeah, Eric the Redbeard. Free agent.
Sarah Logan,
Technically free agent, but she also had a kid.
No Way Jose,
Indies.
Mike Chioda,
No, Kyoto.
Mike Chioda. Yeah.
Yeah, you ready for this one? Yeah, you ready for this one?
Yeah.
AEW.
Mike and Maria Canales, and they're both on
Ring of Honor.
EC3.
Free agent working with multiple promotions.
Aiden English.
I don't think he's taking indie bookings right now.
Leo Rush.
New Japan Pro Wrestling, MLW, and maybe more.
Primo and Epico.
I think they are working with Tyler Breeze and Sean Spears at their wrestling school.
Let's look up on
Either that or they're working indies.
Aiden English is on an independent circuit.
Okay.
For Zello Wrestling.
I'm still waiting for you to say Rusev.
He's not on this list. I don't know what when was this list.
He should be because he was one of the ones.
This was the April 15th list.
Yeah. He was in that list.
And then it says backstage agents have been furloughed, which is David Finley, Mike Rotunda, Shane Helms, Lance Storm, Billy Kidman, Pat Buck, Sean Davari, Scott Armstrong, and Sarah Stock. Rusev's not on this list yet. They didn't put him on this particular list. Let's see.
It was that day or the next. But Rusev was in that release window. So was Matt Hardy.
Rusev, he's on a different list. Matt Hardy's not on this one either.
But that and the whole reason that Jeff's contract should have expired at the same time, but his time got added on from the injuries. Right. But out of that list, how many of those people did we say were Impact or AEW?
Majority of them.
Including a referee.
Right. And see, WWE's lost because they can't afford them because they're not pulling ratings and they're not making the money off the subscription for the network is AEW and Impact's gain. Because they are pulling. So.
And the funny thing about that.
All the WWE superstars that are not happy with where you are right now and afraid of being cut, bigger things are coming. If you get cut, it ain't the end of the world. There's other organizations out there now that you can go to and get more creative control, more free control over your character, your gimmick, and do whatever you
I feel like FTR was also on that list.
Might have been.
Okay, well, hold on. List. Wait. The revival technically would have been part of that list, but they had been requesting for their contract release.
So they weren't technically wrapped into it.
So they weren't furloughed. But there's another one, the Revival, aka FTR, AEW.
Right. So all in all, things have been shit in the WWE. NXT is booming. AEW and Impact are booming. New Japan is just awesome all around.
New Japan is they didn't run a show for 5 months, and it was real. 1 month they were in the red.
Right.
How do you not run a single show for 5 months, and out of 5 months only, and it was the first month. The first month they were in the red because they had to do so many ticket refunds.
Right.
Yeah. After that, they were still in the green.
Yeah,
How?
New Japan's been around for so long, and they're not going. They don't have a problem at all.
Yeah.
So that's
like, okay. Here's the funny, or not really funny, but here's an interesting story. 2020, year of COVID, year of sports with no fans, or minimum fans.
Right. No fans, and then cardboard cutouts.
Sports
teleprompters, and then now teleprompters and some fans.
So, sports organizations are taking hits. Understandable. It all makes sense, whatnot. But you look over at New Japan. New Japan doesn't run a show for the first 5 months of the lockdown.
Right.
Well, the first month of the lockdown, they're in the red. The next month of the lockdown, they purchased Stardom, and they're still in the green.
Right.
They purchased another company in Japan that was professional wrestling, and they're still in the green.
Right. New Japan has it figured out. I mean, New Japan's been around for so damn long. They've been through everything. New Japan.
Here comes the best part. New Japan, all of their wrestlers got paid the entire time.
Yeah.
No one got released. Hell, they signed more wrestlers.
Yeah. It's because they're still selling merch. People want anything and everything to do with New Japan.
Yeah. But I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, in a year that has been not good for most wrestling companies, New Japan strived.
Right.
Now it did hurt them because this was going to be the year where they started working for their global expansion.
Right.
Where they moved to North America, because they opened the dojo last year. They opened their LA dojo last year. Then COVID happened. Well, they had so many wrestlers over here helping with the dojo, and then they had wrestlers in Japan, and then they had the wrestlers that would fly in for so many weeks and then fly home.
Right.
And then fly. You had your American-based wrestlers that would fly in for the tours and then fly home, whatnot.
Right.
Okay. So over the course of that, your US-based wrestlers, both Japanese and American, that train at the dojo and whatnot, set up the New Japan dojo to hold shows in the New Japan dojo with no audiences.
Right.
After the 5 months, very first show was from LA's New Japan dojo, and it was on. It was New Japan Strong. That was the name of the show. And they started releasing every other week a show from New Japan Strong on New Japan World, i.e., New Japan World, 999 yen. That's less. When you buy that American, it is less than $9.99, tax and all.
Right.
Just as a heads up, guys. New Japan World. And they have English and Japanese commentary. You can pick what you want to hear, if you want to understand it or not.
Right. I don't know. I feel like the Japanese commentary is just more energetic and energized than
Listen, nothing is better than when you hear Lariato. And it's a clothesline. But they, okay,
The
if you've ever
announcers are what
watched,
sells it.
well, no, if you've ever watched soccer in the United States,
Yeah.
and you've heard the announcing for soccer,
Go.
it's kind of like it's kind of like football, and there's a goal, and then you listen to like soccer from Mexico or from the UK when a goal is scored.
Right.
It is like a damn party celebration.
Right. Exactly.
New Japan's the same way with clothesline.
Nice.
Someone hits a clothesline and it is like a party just broke out. Lariato!
Right.
It's a clothesline.
Oh,
Like it is one of the most commonly used moves amongst anyone. Nope, not there.
right.
You hit, and there's a reason. I mean, because the clothesline or the lariat, as they call it,
Right.
it was used by Stan Hansen and Brody Lee, or not? Oh shit, not Brody Lee. Bruiser Brody. There's a reason why Brody Lee used the Lee. He was very much by Bruiser Brody. That's why it was Brody Lee. But you had Stan Hansen, who had one of the nastiest, wicked-looking clotheslines, and he was legitimately knocking people out in Japan with a clothesline. And you had Bruiser Brody over there now, granted, Bruiser Brody was throwing clotheslines, fists, kick, like big boots, chairs, people, whatever, chains. He also threw chains. Like people would run in fear when Brody would come out, when Bruiser Brody would come out. A lot of his matches ended up with Abdullah the Butcher, and they were all over the arena in a time when that wasn't a thing. But for them, it was. They were beating the shit out of each other up and down, like the chairs that are rode out for the people. Like people were running in a sheer terror that they were fixing to be part of the show. Because they were coming in like two bulls in the china shop that they both were seeing red. Anyone could get it. If you don't get out of the way, you might eat a close. If you're at the wrong place at the wrong time, you turn around, you might get a fork to the forehead from Abdullah the Butcher, just because you were between him and Brody at the time. But the energy of the Japanese announcers is there, just like it is any other language. And another move that you'll know is going to be hit is the Rainmaker from Okada. Because when that comes, it's Rainmaker! And I'm just like, why? Is this a Broadway? Like, what? Why are you giving such passion for a move? Again, funny thing, Okada's Rainmaker is a ripcord clothesline. Now that I think about it, that's probably why. They're not saying Lariat, but they're yelling Rainmaker the same way.
Yeah.
But I mean, and that's like that just goes to show, even with the year being like it was, it's possible to strive, it's possible to survive, and it's possible to just tough it out.
Right.
And I know we were talking that we were heading towards the 2-hour mark, but also for the simple fact that we weren't going live, I just kind of assumed we were going more than 2 hours.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep it all around the same.
Yeah,
level.
I'm in all honesty, I'm thinking the end of the year and the beginning the longest.
Yeah.
Always, because you're covering an entire year of shit that happened.
Right.
Because we've barely scratched the surface of 2020. Well, okay, we're about halfway through 2020 technically. We've just jumped around all over the place. But no, that was my take on 2020. Like the big thing of wrestling, being the potential cross working relationship with Impact and AEW. That's going to be the biggest thing in wrestling of 2020. Minus,
Yeah, I mean, Impact, AEW, New Japan, they don't have a problem.
yeah,
WWE is struggling. NXT is not.
yeah,
WWE is struggling. They got to
yeah.
do something. Right.
I mean, we haven't even touched on the whole third party bullshit that WWE pulled halfway through the year. The third party affiliates, superstars.
I must have missed that.
Main roster superstars can't stream on Twitch, can't use Cameo, can't do anything
Oh,
like.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, third party affiliation.
Yeah, and made Paige change her Twitch to her.
Zelina Vega quit because of it. But funny thing is, NXT wrestlers can do all that. And Xavier Woods. Xavier Woods was the exception.
Yeah, but doesn't he streams more into the down up?
Yeah, up, down, down.
Up, down,
Now
down more than he
I
does
will
his name.
I will say his actual Twitch channel, since this third party affiliation thing has happened, I have not seen him on his Twitch channel, the Austin Creed.
Yeah.
But he did get the G4 host, so that's another network that he's going to be a part of. He hosts Up, Down, Down. Granted, that is technically he made the name, and WWE has copyrights for Up, Down, Down. Well, they have partial copyright. It's actually a split copyright between them and Xavier Woods.
Yeah.
But Up, Down, Down is WWE's game related stuff that Xavier that Woods is in control of.
Woods made it famous. WWE is claiming.
Yeah. But also interesting enough, the Slammies was on Twitch. I watched it on YouTube because I knew it would be easier to find. I haven't even found it, but apparently WWE now has a Twitch channel.
Huh.
In fact, I'm looking for it right now. Bam, there it is. WWE. Oh, and interesting enough, they're okay. So apparently they are. I'm impressed. Their next stream is tomorrow at 9 a.m. It's the Bump. Their last stream was an hour and 22 minutes, and it was I think that was the Slam. That may have been the Slammies. I don't know. But yeah, they have 73.7 thousand followers, but Paige has 172,000 followers.
Right. She gained most of her followers when she was under WWE Paige or Paige WWE.
Mm-hmm. She's also apparently been playing Among Us.
Huh. Be interesting to.
Oh, okay. So that hour and 22 minute, the Slammy Awards Best of Raw and SmackDown is what that stream was. The Slammy Awards itself was an hour and 19 minutes. But they were both 5 days ago. I don't know. It makes no sense. There was a pre-show as well that was 30 minutes.
Even on Twitch they do.
Yeah. Anything that they're streaming on is getting a pre-show. So, hey. But it just goes to show you, they made them stop their superstars can't stream, but now they have a Twitch channel. I know for a fact 6 months ago, they didn't have a Twitch channel.
Right. They didn't want their superstars getting all the glory. They wanted it for themselves. Two-sided,
So what?
two-faced.
What's your biggest thing from 2020? Of course, mine was the AEW Impact thing.
I really enjoy, like, I haven't followed AEW that much. From what I have followed, I do like the storylines that they're going through and everything. I'm curious to see how they proceed into 2021.
It only took me, 2 months to finally get you to watch one show?
Basically, yeah. About as long as we've been doing podcasts. So,
dude, I'm telling you, you need to watch AEW. Just give it a try. Give it one try.
Biggest thing that I took out of it, I mean, besides the failed attempt that the Undertaker retired that they did, is got to be the bloodline storyline that they got. I'm curious to see where they go with this. It could lead to big things or it could flop. And sad to say, the way WWE's handled shit in the past, it could flop within the next month or so. What they got, the feud they got going on with Roman and Kevin Owens is really, really good. I missed the cage match, so I don't know what the outcome of that was.
Yeah, you do.
They could carry that feud into. Not as
far
it could go into the Rumble.
I can tell you what the outcome of the cage match was.
What was it?
Jey Uso ended up getting Kevin Owens handcuffed to the cage. Literally, like he could get half his body out the cage door, handcuffed to the cage, the bottom of the cage, and Roman Reigns walked out the door.
Yeah, we knew there'd be interference.
Yeah.
We knew there'd be interference. So, I do like that feud. You know, we may not see Roman versus Kevin at Rumble. We may see Kevin versus Uso. Where Kevin tries to put Uso out of commission. So he can have a fair fight against.
I think the next one that's going to end up being that's feuding with Reigns is going to be Daniel Bryan. Because there was some words on Talking Smack after SmackDown with Bryan and Paul Heyman. And Bryan made it clear that regardless of Roman having the title or not,
yeah,
he was going to come for him. He said it may. He said it may not be right now, and he may or may not have the title. But I am going to come for him, and I am going to beat him. That was the exact phrasing of that statement to Paul Heyman in regards to Roman Reigns.
So we could see Daniel Bryan Roman Reigns feud, or hell, they could be setting up for Daniel Bryan to win the Rumble, challenge Roman.
Yeah, because he'd made a statement. That's the one thing that he's not done is win the Rumble yet.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking
it could be a prelude to the Rumble.
I'm thinking he wins the Rumble and sets up the feud for Roman at Mania. Even though me personally, I really want to see the Kevin Owens feud continue.
Right. Well, I mean, it also depends on how Mania is going to go down next year, too. Are we going to have fans in the crowd, or is it going to be teleprompters again? Because if they're able to put fans in the crowd, we may see a different route they go.
You're not going to see that unless they can fill a stadium.
Yeah, true.
If they can do half capacity, they still won't do that match until they can have a full stadium.
Right, and then the question therein lies, are they going to... Can they continue the bloodline through 2021 into 2022 so that they can get that match?
You want an answer? I have an answer.
Yeah.
They can.
But will they?
But they're gonna have to do something that spirals back to what I was talking about earlier. You build that bloodline stable and then have a working relationship with AEW.
Right.
And I can tell you, I guarantee one person that would work with them. because there would be no way John Moxley would say no to working with Roman
Right.
across the ring from him.
Right. Yeah, because that would be interesting too.
And that's, I mean, yeah, honestly, that would be, because I was going to say before, like, and this was a thought that I had before, you know, everything transpired and the news was released about Brody.
Right.
If AEW and WWE was to work together, how interesting would it be to see the Dark Order standing across the ring from the Firefly, from the Funhouse,
Exactly.
from the Fiend and Alexa?
Exactly.
Have
That would
no,
have been interesting.
shut up, Alexa. Shut up.
That would have been an interesting endeavor right there.
But I mean, to have Bray Wyatt and Bliss standing across the ring from Brody Lee and Anna Jay.
That would be interesting. That would have been interesting.
That right there, that would be a main event pay-per-view match in any company.
Right.
Because Brody and Bray are hard-hitting. They're fast and they're agile for their size.
Right.
Anna and Bliss are almost identical. They can hit hard and they can make you hurt.
Right.
But they're small, they're fast, and they can use that as well.
And they're good at selling stories.
Yes.
So that would have been a match to see right there.
Like if things had went differently and Brody didn't unfortunately pass away,
right.
and we got an AEW WWE relationship, that would have been a match that no matter what I would have wanted on that card.
Right. That would have been interesting.
But I mean, you could take the Bloodline and you could pair them across the ring from the Inner Circle. Chris Jericho, Jack Hager, MJF, Proud and Powerful, Sammy Guevara, Wardlow. Like you could pair Roman across the ring from Chris Jericho and they'd tear the house down.
Right. Yeah, you could even put the Usos up against the Young Bucks and you'd have a good match. Too.
Let's be honest. If the Young Bucks are going to face anyone in the WWE, it's going to be the New Day.
Right.
Because that has been teased so much, and WWE gave New Day the okay to do a charity event with Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks where they played Street Fighter at one of the game conventions. And they literally, it was the New Day against the Elite. It was streamed. I'll have to find the stream so you can see it. But the losing team had to eat hot peppers.
Damn.
And you want to talk about absolute hilarious stuff going on? Watch that stream. Because they are having so much fun and they are talking so much shit with each other. It's a good hour and 45 minutes. And I think that's one stream that the entire hour and 45 minutes, I was laughing for a good part of it. Like, I was hurting by the time the stream was over just from laughing. But yeah, like, I agree with you as far as, like, storyline wise. Bloodline and the Funhouse stuff, the Alexa, Bray Wyatt. God, fuck. I'm going
Bliss
to have
Wyatt.
to train Bliss Wyatt connection going. That's probably some of the best stuff that WWE main roster has done. NXT wise, the whole Undisputed Era, Pat McAfee group, Kyle O'Reilly, Finn Balor,
Right. Oh,
and
what's his name?
they're
Dexter.
fixing to have Dexter Loomis.
Dexter Loomis. I expect good things from him.
Look, I'm
The
gonna
two
tell you
matches,
right now.
the 2 or 3 matches that I've seen on YouTube and the NXT Takeover War Games pay per view,
Yeah.
that dude, oh my god, he just stared daggers into you just by looking at you.
Oh yeah. I'm also going to tell you, NXT's New Year Evil.
Yeah.
The main event is Kyle O'Reilly, Finn Balor too.
When is that going to be?
Oddly enough, I think it's the 6th.
Okay.
I think. Essentially, their New Year's thing was going to run. I think it was running the same time that day 2 of New Year's Bash was supposed to run. But hold on, let me look to make sure. NXT New Year's Evil is January 6th.
Next Wednesday.
Yep. It will be next Wednesday. So they are going up with AEW New Year's Smash. Of course, that was supposed to be night 1 was supposed to be tomorrow night, or not tomorrow night, Wednesday night. That obviously has been changed. Night 1 will be on the 6th, and then night 2 will be on the 12th, I think is the next day that follows that. 13th. The 6th and 13th. So that's going to be the 2 nights of AEW. NXT is running on the 6th. And I'm going to try and watch both. I know for sure I'm watching AEW's New Year's. But I'm gonna try to watch both as well. And then probably come the 20th, I may slip in my takes on the New Year's shows for NXT and AEW. But I've also got to stop and think the 4th and the 5th. I know for sure the 4th. January 4th is Wrestle Kingdom. I'm almost positive. Wrestle Kingdom 15. Okay, never mind. Wrestle Kingdom, as of right now, apparently canceled.
Canceled Wrestle Kingdom?
Yeah, it looks like they canceled Wrestle Kingdom 4th and 5th on for Tokyo Dome.
Weird.
I think I'm looking right now. Hold on. If not, well, I don't know. The 23rd, they gave night 1 full card. It's the main event is a double title defense with Naito against Ibushi, with Naito being the double champ. But you also have Okada against Ospreay, Tanahashi against the Great Okan, Kenta against Kojima. The winner of that has the rights to challenge, or that is for the right to challenge contract that Kenta has for the U.S. heavyweight title, which is technically held by John. but you also have their heavyweight tag team champions championship match, which is Zack Sabre Jr. and Taichi against Gorillas of Destiny, which is Ming's boys. You have the best of the Super Junior tournament going up against the Super J Cup winner. So El Fantasmo versus Takahashi Hiromu, and that was night one. That was posted. That was posted on New Japan's site 6 days ago, and so is night two is too. Night two, the main event will be whoever the winner is from night one's main event double title match will then defend the title, the double titles against Jay White because he won the G1. You have the Junior Heavyweight Championship, which is held by Ishimori. He will be defending against whoever wins between Best of the Super Junior and Super J Cup match. Then you have a grudge match of Sonata versus Evil. They were tag team partners that Evil turned on Sonata. You've got Jeff Cobb versus Shingo Takagi for the Never Openweight Championship, and that's going to be a hoss fight right there. You've got your junior tag titles defense, and the first match on the card is King of Pro Wrestling 2021 Fatal 4-Way match. The opening bout on January 5th will see the first holder of the King of Pro Wrestling 2021 decided. After December 23rd saw King of Pro Wrestling 2020 come to an end, the title began afresh with King of Pro Wrestling 2021, January 4th opening. New Japan Ranbo will continue until 4 men remain in the ring, and those 4 will do battle that night in a 4-way to determine who is the first, the 2021's first King of Pro Wrestling. That's a thing that they do, and they'll run that King of Pro Wrestling all through the year, all the way up until December, and whoever wins it originally, they're in the next match, and as long as they keep winning every time there's a King of Pro Wrestling match, they are involved they are in the match. Whether it be a singles, a triple threat, a 4-way, I've seen a 6-way. That was weird to watch. But like according to Google, it says that it's canceled, but I don't see. I'm looking at news. Yeah, I mean, yeah. 2 days ago, Stardom announced 2 dark matches for Wrestle Kingdom. So yeah, I don't think it's canceled. I just don't think it's going to be in the Tokyo Dome for the first year ever. Crazy. But it is January 5th. So as you can see, my very first week of January is January 4th and 5th is Wrestle Kingdom, as well as catching highlights from Raw to see what happens on Raw. Then the 6th is New Year's Evil and night 1 of New Year's Smash for AEW. And then somewhere along this way, we've also got a podcast there. I think on the 4th.
Yeah, next Monday.
Yeah, the 4th we've got our yearly predictions, which is going to be interesting because I will
for 2021.
Yeah, because I'll end up coming in. Actually, no, night 1 won't be until technically for me January 5th. I think it's either the 5th or it's the 3rd, but it's I'm sorry, it's either the 5th or the 4th, but it's 2 o'clock in the morning. And I more than likely will find a way to watch that live. That way I don't have to try to fucking wait for 2 hours to try to procure it. How I do that, I don't know, but where's will, there's a way.
Those
But
three
yeah,
little words.
yeah. Well, that's not necessarily those three little words, but there's also three words that could be used.
"2021 is gonna hopefully it'll be a better year for them. They have a lot of work they got to do.
I think they're going to have a interesting time, and I don't even know if that's the right way. I even want to say that WWE, in order to turn 2021 around from 2020, they're going to have to embrace changes, first of all.
Right.
They're also going to have to start. They're going to have more than two storylines that hook people. As in, you know, you need to have, you need to have at least three decent storylines on Raw, three decent storylines on SmackDown. Hell, if you got to take notes from NXT, NXT's got it. I know for sure three storylines. You've got the Kyle O'Reilly Finn Balor thing going.
Right.
You've got Candice LeRae and Shotzi. Yeah. Then you have Tony Storm and Rhea Ripley, Io Shirai. You've got a angle with tag team in the tag team division.
Right.
So I mean, if you've got to, shit, take fucking notes from take notes from the little guy.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
I mean,
But yeah, they're gonna have to have stories. Like they're going to have better storylines.
and for the love of God, WWE, get off of your bullying Lana bullshit. Just release her. You can't be a company that is anti-bully and have your superstars bullying another superstar. It doesn't work. It doesn't make you look good.
Apparently, this NXT's NXT's thing this Wednesday is going to be their year awards.
Hmm.
I'm looking at it. Capital Wrestling Center. I can't ever think of that arena's name.
Right.
I know CWC, and then I'm like, Classic Rest. No, that don't make sense.
Right.
Capital Wrestling Center.
That's pretty much my year end on 2020. Wrestling.
I mean, the only other thing that I didn't bring up or we hadn't talked about was the whole uh speak out movement that happened in wrestling, like middle of the year, with all the allegations of sexual misconduct or
Right.
discrimination, or yeah, there was a whole bunch of stuff
Right.
that in all honesty, some of it is, it's good that stuff came out. we saw an end of a wrestling company because of it. But that's honestly that's on the guy that started the company. That's on him.
Right.
He did some shit he shouldn't have. And he came back to bite him in the ass.
Yep.
Because he did some stuff when he was younger, and then he started Chikara, and then he did some shady stuff to some females while he was running Chikara in his wrestling dojo, and then the Speak Out movement happened, and all hell broke loose.
Play stupid
We also
games, win stupid prizes.
Also saw that happen with Joey Ryan. Which, in all honesty, as bad as this is going to sound, I'm kind of glad that Joey Ryan pretty much got canceled from. Because if I saw another dick flip, I was probably going to be like, all right, look, you're going to have to find a new move. I don't know if you've seen the dick flip or not.
I haven't seen it.
Essentially, it's where his gimmick was his penis was strong enough to hip toss someone, which essentially involved them grabbing, them grabbing his junk,
right,
and
him thrusting his hips, and then them selling it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I saw that shit.
That's Joey Ryan. So that was Joey Ryan, and Joey Ryan kind of got hit with some shit. And as bad as that sounds, I'm kind of glad. You know, I no longer had to see the dick flip.
Right.
Crotch toss, penis toss. Right. You know, whatever you want to call it. The grown man having his junk grabbed and people doing front flips, that works too. You know,
right.
I'm glad that came to an end. It needed to. But yeah, like, other than that, it was mainly COVID, shut down WrestleMania from the Performance Center.
All kinds of shit.
Wrestling with no fans, wrestling held within a Zoom call, the video game noise piped into for crowd noise.
Oh yeah, not to mention the guy that dressed up as a KKK member for one of the events.
Yeah. Well, and you know what's funny about that, and this is going to be my funny part. The crowd noise is piped in from WWE 2K19. It wasn't even piped in noise from 2K20.
Because 20 was a flop.
Because 20 was like a foreshadow of 2020. 2K20 foreshadowed 2020. Right. It was the shits.
Right.
And that takes a lot for me to say, because I've played that series since SmackDown on the PlayStation. And I bought them all. I even bought 20. And 20 was the one that I had for a month and took it back and was like, this is absolute dog shit. Right. Still. Even after they said they're fixing it.
I never played it, but I saw the reviews on it and everything. I was like, yeah, I'm not going to mess with it. I didn't even play 19.
I'll be honest.
16 or 17 was the last one that I...
The whole reason I even gave it a month is I wanted to play as the Fiend.
Yeah.
apparently Drew McIntyre paid tribute to Brody.
I know Austin Creed did. Or Apollo Creed or somebody. They had Brody armband or something. I saw it on Twitter. I haven't finished watching Raw yet. I want to see the Bliss's Playground when we get done here. See what all transpires, how they feed that storyline. Go on from there.
And I'm waiting on this dude to show it.
Mm.
Oh. Okay. So McIntyre's in-ring thing. He said it's Monday, and you know what that means.
Oh, okay.
And then he goes, yeah. Which the yeah stems from one of the WrestleManias where he was working against someone and they slapped him in the face and he looked at him. He goes, yeah. And then he slapped him again and he goes, yeah. Like it was so audible you could hear it. But he was also very frustrated that they didn't have any merch and this was Wyatt family. But like Luke Harper didn't have a merch item. It was just Wyatt family stuff.
Right.
And like it was either Bray or someone else literally went out and had shirts made for the boys that had Brody Lee's face and the words yeah on, which if you've been on Twitter, you've seen the picture of them all wearing it backstage. But that's oh yeah, you should find it. It's hilarious. They're all standing backstage and Brody's in the center of them with a big old smile. But then there's like 7 or 8 of them. Roman Reigns he's in the picture. Like it's hilarious. It's a hilarious. But then when you hear the story of it's just one of those where it's that's like a family. Which I mean, yes, wrestlers are per se a family. Because that's you're on the road with someone so many days out of the year, it's gonna happen. Like you get so close where pretty much that is your family.
A lot happened in 2020. Expect a lot more to happen in 2020. If the WWE doesn't do anything different, then their ratings are not gonna improve. So they may be in trouble going up.
But I think that pretty much covers everything.
Yep. Let's go over
as far as I can think.
Pretty much covered. I mean, besides Brock Lesnar leaving the company and weighing options between AEW and WWE.
He's going to do like Orton did, get an offer from him to get him more money from the WWE.
Pretty much, and Vince will pay it.
Yeah.
All right, schedule. Next Monday, we go over our predictions for wrestling in 2021. 111 is a podcast dedicated to Paul Heyman. You're a Heyman guy or you're not a Heyman guy, doesn't matter. Stick around, pay attention, and listen in. And we're from his early beginnings to where he is now in the company. 118 stables over the years. All kinds of different stables. I mean, we'll touch on the Four Horsemen, but we have a podcast completely dedicated to them, so it's going to be a brief touch on them. 125 is a bunch of question marks because we have yet to figure out what the hell we're going to go over on that day.
Yeah, I don't know yet. Because the next one, the one after that's Rumble. So
right, and then 2-1 is the Royal Rumble podcast review. We got at least 4 weeks lined up. We're about to have the 5th one. We'll figure out what we're going to do on the 25th and hopefully we'll update y'all next week with that.
Yeah,
And then
we'll have
go
it
over
figured
that.
out by then.
Yep. So again, this is Sap Wrestling Review here on YouTube, our new home. So, new home
Yeah.
here on YouTube. For those of you listening to the audio version, you can catch us on YouTube at SAP Wrestling, SAP Wrestling. And you can see all of our past broadcasts and everything for the podcast on there. I am one of your hosts, 617. I don't stream right now, but I'm going to stream somewhere. I ain't figured out where yet, but right now you can catch me on twitch.tv/617. It's spelled SEV3N. I'm going to hand it over to the guy to my left.
I am Puppet, your other host, aka the mad brains behind the thought of this, aka I haven't streamed in a while.
AKA the man that set up when he was 6 months old just to watch wrestling.
Watch wrestling, yeah. I also stream on Twitch. Like I said, I have not streamed in a little bit. There's a whole reason behind that with potential of, I don't know, maybe changing platforms. You may find me here on YouTube. You may find me somewhere else. You never know.
You find us
But
on Glimish Alive.
yeah, you may find us on Glimish. You may find us on
D-Live. You may find us on Facebook.
Yeah.
You may find
Yeah,
us
you
on
never
one
know.
that we decide. One of us may
Shit.
hit the lottery tomorrow and become billionaires and start our own platform.
You may find us on Mixer. Who knows?
Yeah, we may reinvent Mixer. Fuck, we'll hack it. We'll bring the servers back up somehow. We'll spell it differently. MYXER, MYXER, Mixer.
But no, I'm an avid wrestling fan. It was always a dream of mine to do something wrestling related, and this is the wrestling as related. Yeah,
boom, here we are.
This is what happened. So, always my favorite line of the show is, "Don't forget to like, subscribe, click the bell. It helps us." You know,
notifications. You got anything you want to see? You want to see us review? Drop in the comments. Let us know.
Let us know.
You're a hardcore wrestling fan, reach out to us on either of our Twitches. You can hit us up on Discord. You can hit us up on Twitter. Mine is, all of my socials are the same, 617 SCV3N. Puppets is, on his Twitter is Puppet Master 219.
219.
You can catch him on Minecraft from now and then as Puppet Mater.
Yeah, Puppet Mater. If you run across a Puppet Mater, that is me.
Right? It ain't Puppet Master, it's Puppet Mater. That's a long story. Mater. We'll get into that another.
But no, we may end up doing a podcast one day that's just a little bit more about us. You never know.
Never.
But no, you can definitely find us. The home for the podcast is definitely going to be YouTube. That's where we will end up posting or doing the live shows. And we're in the works of getting the audio versions out on podcast platforms now. So, stay tuned. Yep, stay tuned for sure.
And what we are going to do, we started this podcast off with a 10-bell salute. We are going to end the podcast with a moment of silence salute in honor of Brody Lee and his elusive career, his illustrious career.
And before we do that, I'm going to end it the same way I started it. It's Monday, and you know what that means.